This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on the State. And on this day, October 18th, 1992, the Toronto Blue Jays won Game 2 of the 92 World Series. But it was just not a normal World Series game, not just because it was the first time a Canadian team won a game in the World Series. It was the ending to that game that was huge for the Blue Jays in the 92 World Series. So, a bit of background about the 92 World Series. The Blue Jays were taking on Atlanta. The Blue Jays in 92 repeated as AL East champions, doing it for the first time to get back-to-back division titles. And as per usual, Toronto left it to the final weekend of the year to win the division, having to win it on the Saturday. But anyway, the Blue Jays faced the A's in the ALCS, and thanks to Roberto Alomar's famous home run, they won Game 4 after coming back from a 5-1 deficit, and then they ended up winning the series in 6. Atlanta had a tough time. Pittsburgh had problems, and the recently deceased Tim Wakefield had 2 key wins as the Pirates forced Game 7 in Atlanta. And Pittsburgh was up 2-0 in the 7th game in the 9th inning, but blew it thanks to a Jose Lind error, which was not really talked about. And of course, the Sid Bream play when he slid to beat the Barry Bonds throw at home, which I talked about 4 days ago. But the fact of the matter is that Atlanta was in. Atlanta was in the 91 World Series and lost that heartbreaking 7-game series to the Twins. So anyway, the big thing about it was that the Braves had held serve. They hosted Game 1 and won 3-1 thanks to David Berryhill's 3-run home run. But the Blue Jays were counting for revenge. So Game 2 happened. The starting lineups were this. Blue Jays had Devon White at center, Robbie Alomar second base, Joe Carter left, Dave Winfield right field, John Olerud at first, Kelly Gruber at third, Pat Borders catching, Manny Lee shortstop, and David Cone, the guy that the Jays got in August from the Mets for one Jeff Kent, was the starting pitcher. Winfield was playing right field because in the National League, the DH rule was not in effect. The Braves got Otis Nixon in center, Deion Sanders in left, Terry Pendleton in third, David Justice right field, Sid Bream at first, Jeff Blauser shortstop, David Berryhill catching, Mark Lemke at second, and John Smoltz, who was the hero of the 91 LCS, being the starting pitcher. After 1 to 3 innings and for the first 3 half innings, the Braves got something. Justice got to third base on a terrible throw by the shortstop, by Manny Lee. Berryhill would, score on the wild pitch by David Cone and make it 1-0. The Braves would add on as Lemke hit an RBI single in the 4th, make it 2-0. But the Blue Jays came back as David Cone, of all people, hit an RBI single to score Pat Borders, putting Manny Lee to third base after a terrible throw by the first baseman. Cone went to second, and then Devo with an RBI single to score Manny Lee to tie the game at 2. Cone went to third base but was forced out. The Braves would put up 2 runs as in the bottom of the 5th as David Justice hit an RBI single. And David Cone was taken out of the game for David Wells. And David Wells was just basically a relief pitcher and all that. Then they went with Brian Hunter replacing Sid Bream. And Hunter hit a sac fly to make it 4-2 Braves. And weird thing was that David Cone had a pair of hits in Game 2, which was weird. Blue Jays were up against it, but in the top of the 8th, Dave Winfield hit an RBI single to score Robbie Alomar to make it 4-3. Mike Stanton came into the game to pitch and got a pop fly to John Olerud. Then they went with Jeff Reardon, the closer that they pilfered off the Red Sox in the trade deadline, and whiffed Kelly Gruber. Braves went down 1-2-3 as Dwayne Ward was the hero. And then they went with a defensive change at shortstop as Jeff Blauser was taken out for Rafael Balliard. Pat Borders came to the plate and lined out. First pitch. Derek Bell would come in to pinch hit for Manny Lee, and he would walk. And then Ed Sprague would hit for Dwayne Ward because it was the pitcher spot. And somehow, in some way, first pitch of the at-bat, Ed Sprague took a high fastball deep to left field over the fence, and the Blue Jays somehow, in some way, took a 5-4 lead. Sprague's pinch hit home run will always be remembered in Blue Jays lore. Never mind the fact that Devo grounded out and Roberto Alomar popped one foul and was caught. The Blue Jays had a 5-4 lead and headed to the bottom of the ninth when the Terminator, Tom Hankey, would come in for the save situation. Alfredo Griffin would play shortstop. Mark Lemke came in and had a fly ball to left, which was caught. Lonnie Smith would pinch hit for the pitcher, and he would be hit by the pitch. Then Ron Gant would pinch run, and Otis Dixon lined out to center, so 2 out. Gant would steal second on defensive indifference. Deion Sanders walked, and then Pendleton came up to the plate and popped. Foul, third base, Kelly Gruber caught the ball and did the Atlanta chop. And the Braves had a chance to go up 2-0, but Jeff Reardon gives up that big home run to Ed Sprague, and the Blue Jays win 5-4. The creepy thing was that the Blue Jays, that Ed Sprague's wife, Kristen, actually was a U.S. gold medal winning synchronized swimmer. And never mind the fact that Canadians were fuming at her because of a controversy at the synchronized swimming competition at the Olympics in Barcelona, as Sylvie Frechette was robbed of a gold medal by a judge's scoring error. Frechette got a duplicate gold out of it, but it took till 93 to do that. But anyway, it was still huge for the Blue Jays because that was momentum. They took the momentum away from Atlanta. Reardon again gave up the winning run in Game 3 on a looping single. Jays won Game 3, won Game 4, and the Jays looked like they were going to win the World Series on home turf. Unfortunately, though, they didn't. And they didn't win Game 5, and then Game 6 was the famous one. They finally did it, and finally reached the pinnacle. And that is just how it goes. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do